Imagine this. You're lying in bed next to someone you love, and you start wondering, is this normal? You're having sex once a week, or maybe once a month. And suddenly, doubt creeps in. Are we drifting apart? Is something wrong with us? Or is this just what long-term relationships actually look like? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might see your relationship and your desires in a completely different light. On Decode Love, we talk about the things people whisper about but rarely say out loud. And sex frequency is one of the biggest unspoken anxieties in relationships. Social media, movies, even friends' casual comments can make it feel like there's a right number. Like healthy couples should want each other all the time. But here's the truth. Sex itself is rarely the problem. What matters is what's happening around it. Let's start with something important. There is no universal normal. Some couples feel deeply connected having sex once a week, others once a month. Some go through phases of intense desire, and others through quiet stretches where intimacy looks different. Frequency alone doesn't define closeness. What defines it is whether both partners feel emotionally safe, desired, and seen. Sex once a week can be perfectly healthy. In fact, for many couples juggling work, stress, mental load, and daily responsibilities, once a week can feel nourishing and intentional. It can mean you're choosing each other, not rushing, not performing, but actually connecting. The problem only begins when one person feels constantly unsatisfied, rejected, or afraid to even talk about wanting more, or less. Sex once a month can also be completely okay, especially during demanding life seasons. Burnout, illness, emotional overload, parenting, grief, or hormonal changes. Desire is not a switch you turn on, it's a response to safety, energy, and emotional closeness. When sex slows down but affection, communication, and care remain, it's often not a red flag. It's a phase. So when does it become a problem? Not when the number drops, but when silence grows. When sex becomes a source of tension instead of connection. When one partner feels unwanted and the other feels pressured. When intimacy disappears not only from the bedroom, but from touch, from eye contact, from curiosity about each other's inner world. Another key question to ask is, why is sex happening less? Is it exhaustion or emotional distance? Is it stress or unresolved resentment? Is it a low libido or a lack of feeling emotionally held? Many people blame themselves or their partners when the real issue is unmet emotional needs that have nothing to do with physical attraction. Here's something rarely talked about. Sometimes less sex is actually a signal that your relationship wants deeper intimacy, not more performance. Desire often returns when pressure leaves, when conversations become honest, when vulnerability replaces comparison. And here's the part that might surprise you. Some couples have frequent sex and still feel lonely. Others have sex rarely and feel deeply bonded. Frequency without emotional presence is empty. Emotional closeness without physical connection can feel painful, but it's also repairable. The most powerful question you can ask yourself isn't, are we having enough sex? But, do I feel safe expressing my needs here? Because when you can talk openly about desire, rejection, fear, and longing, sex becomes a shared language again, not a scorecard. If this topic resonates with you, if you've ever questioned whether your relationship is normal, you're not alone. And you don't need to figure it out in silence. On this channel, we decode love layer by layer: desire, attachment, intimacy, and the emotions underneath it all. If you want more honest conversations about relationships, sexuality, and emotional connection, subscribe to Decode Love. New videos every week. And remember, the problem isn't how often you have sex. The real question is whether you still feel close when you don't.